everybody. Thanks for joining us on this great webinar that we have on behalf of Flori Expo, aka International Floriculture Expo, as some of you know. We have a webinar every single month, and this is going to be an exciting one because as we're getting through summer, the doldrums, everybody's got garden flowers, sales slip a little bit, June, July, August. Now's the time, September, and I've already seen some great displays. I've seen Giant Eagle has some great displays out there. So fall is it. I mean, this is where we're really going to come all guns a-blazing, as you fellow buyers know. And I've got the perfect people to talk to us about what's new in fall. And a lot of times we think, oh, it's orange, yellow, and red, and that's it. But it's so much more than that and different than that. And so I have two great guests who I know you guys all know, the experts in their field. And I'm going to have them introduce themselves because I want them to tell about what they're doing now in the industry. But we've got a great program for you. And as you see, very Perry blue. How does that fit into fall? I'm curious. Martina's going to let us know. But first, Pieter, would you introduce yourself and tell us what you're up to lately?
Absolutely. Well, I'm Pieter Landman. A lot of people for sure know me. I'm right now in the Netherlands, where I'm born and raised, found behind the tulip in the Netherlands. I've been working in the United States in this industry for quite a while. And right now I'm working for Elite Flower. And I am super happy there. It's a wonderful family, and I'm really embraced by them. Working there on a lot of things where I'm working on product development, new business. I'm monitoring like the whole production, but of course also working on a lot of trends. And with that, yeah, that's my world. This is who I am, and that's what I want to share in this particular webinar, also to you all.
And Elite is blessed to have you, I will say, and I think the whole industry thinks that too. I can't wait to see what you come up with, because I'm sure they're very excited to have you on board. And then we have Martine, another large company that everybody knows, a successful company. I've said my whole career, this company has the industry down like clockwork. They don't miss a PO. Their quality is amazing. Great company, great people. And one of them we have here today who works on the design side and product development. But I'll have her tell her story. This is Martine van Velden. Martine?
Hi, I'm Martine, and I'm also born and raised in the Netherlands, born in a family with greenhouses. So that's how I grew up, working in greenhouses, and from the greenhouses moving to flower shops and auctions, and basically every part of the industry I've worked at. And in '97, I moved to Dallas, Texas, where I started to work in a flower shop, and slowly I moved my way to Florida. And 6 years ago, I started with the Queen's Group and working in product development. And basically what I do, I'm the person behind the bouquet that ends up in the supermarket, creating new bouquets every year for all the different seasons, trends, promotions, all those things. And I love to get challenges. Like, I love working with the Pantone challenges. How can you incorporate their beautiful pastel blue into fall settings? And those are the things that I love to do. And that's what I'm here to talk about.
Super. Well, let's get started. I can't wait. And both Martine and Pieter were kind enough to prepare a presentation so we can see it right in front of us. And, this is a visual business. And so, Martine, one of my first questions, and Pieter, we have your slides toward the end of this, but feel free to pop in on commentary on these topics as well. but Martina, you led the way on Very Perry. And it's been very popular from what I understand. And you can see spring and it'd be popular, and even in summer it's going to be popular. Now what do we do with it? And we saw a lot of Very Perry still on, still at Fashion Week. But now we're into fall, so you think, oh, how do I take periwinkle and create a fall theme? So Martina, do you want to expand on that, and Pieter?
Sure. Well, Cindy, when you dropped the Very Perry yesterday, I thought, you know what? I have to come dressed for the occasion.
Look at
I
you.
went to my wardrobe and I found my Very Perry blue shirt. And I like to show like how I start a challenge like that, because Very Perry, if you start, that's a perfect color for Easter. It's a perfect color for Mother's Day. How do you incorporate these colors for fall? And then I'm thinking about trips to New England in the fall, and if you look over there, you get these blue sunsets at the night, and you walk through the forests and you see the leaves, and the leaves are not only red and orange, they're red, orange, lavender, purple, blue. The sky is changing colors, and a little hint of blue, throwing that through your bouquets is perfect. I cannot match the exact Very Perry color because there's only so many blue flowers in the industry, and especially when you work with products from Colombia, there's not a huge amount. But you can take that theme and throw it into the fall colors. So I go from that thought to magazines, to shopping, taking my kids out on a little trip to the malls, and see how that color is coming back in all these fall collections. If it's furniture, if it's clothing or fashion, everything. And that's what I put together here is that you see this on the left side, you see this girl holding these blue asters and her burgundy outfit. And then I'm translating that to flowers. And if you go to the next slide, you will see that I'll take a picture and then I'm starting to think, this is that picture. We have blue, we have orange. How can we make a fall bouquet out of this? And I go into the system, collecting all these flowers together, and with that thought, we're building new bouquets.
You pushed like all the paint
funny.
against the mirror. What happened?
I know. And I want to pass it to you, Pieter, but the burgundy, okay, you kind of expect that burgundy, although look how gorgeous it looks with the blue. But then, Martina, when I went to your next slide, I'm like, look at the butterscotch. Look at the oranges with the blue. I never would have thought of that, but look how good it looks together. Look at the orange roses and the blue. It's on the hydrangeas. I never, thinking without seeing it, would have thought of that color combo.
Yeah, but
And
you
Pieter,
also have your early fall.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. What we see on all these colors. We think about fall, and you mentioned this in the beginning about the burgundies and the dark browns and the dark yellows and really the dark colors. But hey, you know what? Today is the first day of fall, and as a matter of fact, it's still beautiful out there. So we don't immediately want to be surrounded by all those very dark colors. So this is like so beautiful for early fall.
Yes.
And also fall, yes, of course, fall is fall, but it doesn't mean that we all every day are thinking in fall. Because you can also be a little bit more down, not feeling so well, and then you want to be surrounded by more bright colors. And like, for example, a sunflower, and sunflower with Very Perry. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. It's like if you are going through France and you see like fields of lavender and the sunflowers, and when you're down, you bring that home. It's just a bunch of aster in this beautiful, Very Perry color, and sunflowers. And it can be even one sunflower and one aster, and then you are happy. And that I would like really to express to all of us, that it doesn't need to be a lot. It can be also just this little thing. It can be one flower only, just to tear us up. And specifically what we are facing nowadays in the economy, everything becomes more expensive. So we all have to think also, how can we help everyone to get like the beauty of flowers at home? For example, what I did myself behind here, I went in the garden and I found some flowers of colchicum. Those are crocus which are growing in the fall. Those are fall crocus. And so, you know, this is like super simple. This is just 2 crocus and a fall leaf. And this is something we can also give to our customers at store level. And this palette again, God, I love it. Love, love, love it.
And it's
And I think-
vibrant.
yeah.
It's so vibrant and energetic that we also tend in the fall when the days are shorter and the days are darker, we tend to go a little down. And this exactly what you say with that yellow sunflower, this brings your energy level up again.
And also, I was going to say, working with, you know, so many store units, thousands over the years, I always coach them on the visual merchandising in store is Peter, you made a good point. Don't turn on a light switch like all of a sudden you've got bright summer, spring colors, and boom, you go into a store and it's all scarecrows, oranges, and browns. I see that a lot. You know, it's almost like, here's fall, but by golly, you better want fall because this is all there is. And there's still birthdays and baby showers and all this. And I think that was a perfect comment, Peter, is you can morph to fall without all of a sudden turning on a light switch of brown. Because I think, to Martina, to your point, you know, as the days get shorter, everybody's mood gets a little bit, you know, and I think it's a good point. It's like we still want something uplifting, especially when we're giving it as a gift.
Yeah,
correct. Totally,
So-
totally.
All
And
right,
here we
Martina,
go.
look at this. Oh, rich.
Look
Rich
at this. It's rich, it's intense. But this to me is walking through the woods in North America, like the northern part. Fall is not just red, bronze, and orange and yellow. It is a combination of natural colors. And that's honestly, these 3 months are probably my favorite months of the year because we have some sort of a filter outside and everything glows and is beautiful. Nature is changing. And I mean, I'm blessed because I live in North Carolina and it's like right up the apple. It's beautiful. We see the trees already turning orange here, and it's just so inspiring to make these bouquets this time of the year.
Actually, for me, fall and spring are the most beautiful seasons of the year. There's so much happening.
Excitement. Yes.
Yeah. In the winter, everything stays the same. In the summer, everything stays the same. But in the fall and the spring, there is so much happening. I love it. Love it.
See that first tulip coming out of the ground, and
Yeah.
And look at
Wow.
this. I want to mention too, and Martina, this is a great slide as well. Don't forget the sleeves and the patterns of sleeves and the textures of sleeve. I mean, it used to be long ago when it was like, you know, cello wrap and you had 3 or 4 choices. Now it's like, you know, don't forget that, you know, the fabric and the cello, but the different textures and colors and the inner wraps and outer wrap and what you can do with that. And I think this is a great example, Martina.
it's really nice that all our sleeve suppliers are so creative too. They also understand that we need to step away a little bit from the traditional and bring in those lavenders and purples and blues. And if you look at the left side, if you wrap that fall leaf sleeve or sheet with that textured insert, that is just a big, beautiful gift around your flowers, and it gives it that extra pop. So yeah, it's really exciting to work with all these materials.
Well, as a matter of fact, also you hit the nail, Cindy, about the packaging. Before we had like just clear sleeves many years ago. Now we have beautiful things. And I compare it always together with, let's say, as chocolate. Okay, chocolate is very tastes great, right? If you like it anyway. And like the very elegant Godiva chocolates and so on, they're very precious, but they make them even more beautiful by wrapping them up in beautiful paper and beautiful boxes with a nice ribbon. And we have flowers. Now flowers, I'm not talking that they taste good, but they're pretty.
Mhm.
But we can make them more a gift by using the right sleeve and the right wrap and a ribbon. And to give it a little extra. And by giving that little extra, it becomes a whole different experience. So at store level, we can have them simple in a printed sleeve. For example, what we see on the left-hand side, which is beautiful, by the way, because it reminds me on Indonesia, the
Yeah, the
batik
batik.
prints, beautiful. But you know, if this is like standing at store level, then it would be wonderful if we give that service to the final consumer to wrap it up extra. And it can be super easy by using, for example, the blue insert and just put it on the outside. Wrap it around, take a nice ribbon, tie the ribbon around, and all of a sudden it's a very gifty gift to take out. Of course, you can charge for that. And people really would like to pay for that as well. And it becomes a gift, a real gift. And I think that's something, we have all those possibilities in the industry with all the suppliers of wraps. We have beautiful flowers coming from all kinds of suppliers to the stores. And when we make it a final touch, which you see also in upscale stores, retail stores, florists, let's say, they do this. But also, I'm right now in Europe, and so I've been traveling a little bit. Oh God, when I went to the UK and I saw all those boxes and ribbons, and oh God, this is so beautiful. We can do so much more with this, and I hope we will.
Yes,
Mhm.
there's room.
Okay, this is a good one.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Green.
yeah, but who would have thought? Olive green is so big this year. All my research, all the fashion shows, you name it. Olive green. And you think once again, kind of like the very pear, you think, oh, olive green. How could that be sexy and exciting in a bouquet? Leave it to you guys, to come up with something great. But again, because remember, when you're in a supermarket, you're looking at a low profile case that has 200 bouquets in it, and so it's easy to get boring, and olive green isn't that exciting of a color on its own. But the question for Martina and Pieter was, how do we incorporate olive green? And of course, they came through. And so Martina, you want to talk about this slide and in your vision for olive green, and Pieter also to interject?
Well, it's like another very favorite color of mine is the olive green. So, and it's a very natural, real color. It's not like we're coming up with an artificial neon color. It's olive green, and olive green it matches with, you can work with that color with any color and use olive as your base to start with. Mix it with a yellow and it's very happy. Mix it with a lavender and it's very sophisticated. And it's just a starting point to work in all your colors. Green matches any color. So for me, it's wonderful.
And green is very important also as a neutral element in bouquets and in arrangements. A lot of times people forget about this.
Yeah.
And we also have to realize that, for example, also fall, it's beautiful, really. And you see this also in high-end interior decorations, just greens, just tropical greens in a vase, or just one leaf in a vase, or mixed bouquets with just greens. But think about, we are talking about olive green, to have branches of olive and rosemary and timo and all those herbs together, and put that on a vase in your house. Feels good. You bring really the outside inside, and I think that's super important. And when I look at this, especially on the right-hand side, the picture, where you see the greens and the yellow tones, it's also fall. Beautiful. Love it. Love it.
And Martina, you mentioned a good point. Most of the time when you think, okay, green, you think of the primary Crayola color green, which is like, whoa, that, green, that's what we think of.
Race
But when you mentioned this, it's a natural green. And Peter, you're right. I've been doing a lot of research on interiors, and the olive greens are everywhere and they're beautiful.
Mhm.
But by themselves, you think, bland, but it's beautiful.
It's a color that makes you be greens around me. It keeps me focused. It's a very natural way of dealing with the environment around you.
Mhm,
Look at her.
mhm.
I know, isn't she gorgeous? It's just,
Yeah.
We want her as a customer.
Oh,
she's happy, she's green, she's carrying these bouquet,
Yeah.
these flowers. It's like that whole picture is just
Mhm.
gorgeous.
beautiful. And also, and that's something I do see more and more happening, and I'm very happy about that, is that we use more greens in bouquets as well. And you see this also in this particular bouquet, where the lepidium is used in between, which gives it really this touch of natural, there is a lot of texture, a lot of movement, and I'm so happy to see this, really. This is phenomenal. And also another thing, I hear one of our colleagues in the industry screaming and yelling and super happy. We see ilex. Now,
Yeah.
ilex is normally red, right?
Yes.
And I remember that Leen de Vries started, well, already like 12 years ago, I think, growing ilex, orange ilex. Oh my goodness. The whole industry was like, orange. Orange. Oh no, that has to be red because it's for Christmas.
Mhm.
Poor Leen, but he was like really like fighting for it. Like, no,
Such a
I keep on
trendsetter.
growing
He
it
wasn't
because
deterred.
it's beautiful. And now he's having even like yellow and so on. And look at this bouquet. How beautiful is this with this orange ilex? God, this is to die for. This is beautiful. Yeah.
It's a beautiful picture.
And Peter, you mentioned, lower cost bouquets and now as prices are going up, people are sensitive, the buyers are sensitive. That this is another area that I think the industry has evolved in a great way. It's the use of unique greeneries. I mean, it used to be everybody had leather leaf and that's it, leather leaf and baby's breath.
Yeah.
And it's evolved over time. And now the sexiness of all these different color of greens, branches, the whole thing. And I would say, to the buyers, don't forget, it's not just flowers, it's flowers, unique greens, branches, the whole fillers, the whole kit and caboodle. And you can have some really unique products to sell to your customer kind of outside the box. It doesn't have to be 15 flowers and nothing else. It could be, there's so much dimension now that we can add. I mean, look at the branches in this bouquet that she's holding.
Yeah, and there's something extra on this whole thing about maybe also small things, but there is also the opposite. It can be beautiful, it can be more expensive and bigger, but it has to be, as you call it, wowza. It has to be super nice. And we do see this more and more. And I'm very happy that the suppliers, that they work very hard on this. Like where I'm working at Elite, we have a special department concentrated on very high-end bouquets. And more suppliers do this as well. And we do see that that's really appreciated also by the consumer. So that they say, well, yeah, it's more expensive, but it's super beautiful. So I like to spend that money on it.
And
this is the bouquet exactly like that the lady is having. And she's happy, you can see.
She's happy, yes.
Very happy.
All right. Now, here's something that as I was looking at, of course, Bear is also a very important, color consultant, if you will, in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
And I see this all over. I mean, I'm kind of a fanatic on home interiors, and it all over. You look at home interiors and they're like beige, white, that's it, gray. And you think, now what? Now, how do we incorporate into that type of interior? In fact, Bear's color of the year is Blanc canvas. And you think, how could that be a color? But again, we're shown here that it's not like the green, it's the olive. It's not white, it's a version of white. And so, Martina, you want to go? I mean, look at this, is exactly what you see everywhere in interior nowadays. You think there's almost no color to it.
Yeah, but
But
there
it's
is a
going
pillow.
more to
There's a flower.
minimalistic. What are you saying, Peter?
There is always a pillow. There's always a flower.
Exactly.
There's a plant.
Yeah.
Different color, right?
Mhm.
Beautiful.
It's the minimalistic part that gives you the challenge to play with it. So I love these light balls. But look, you're using white, which is mostly a very cold color, but because of all that warm wood, it doesn't look cold, and it's a very warm, cozy cabin in the woods. And I did stay here. This is one of my favorite Airbnbs that I stayed in a year
Really?
ago. And when I walked in, it was like so peaceful. And then we did bring a bunch of flowers and we put that on the table and it popped. And in an interior like this, you can bring anything. You can bring anything to make this room, give it a pop with flowers. The white to me is warming. The white is also, if you go more to the colder countries, especially up like this, reminds me much about a Scandinavian interior. Why do they have all these white interiors? Because the nights or the days are short and the nights are long. So people bring in as much light as possible during the day. And that's what this all reminds me of.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Light, yes, light. That's what you see when you look at this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
There you
look
go
at
with
that
your
dining
flowers.
area. Oh,
There you go. Yeah.
wow.
But
Does
like
the
I
whole
say,
job.
if you bring in hot pink, it looks beautiful too. It's any color you can put in this room, bring in that orange, blue bouquet, and it's getting all the attention because
Yeah.
there's no distraction from the interior. And
No.
there's places you walk into houses, you can't see anything because there's a flowery wallpaper and there is a golden mirror and we have marble on the floor, and it's like my head starts to spin.
Versailles.
I do not see the flowers. Huh?
It's like Versailles. So
Yeah.
you walk in Versailles and you put a humongous flower arrangement in
Oh,
Versailles.
yes.
You still don't see it.
Everything's ornate.
Because there's
Yeah,
too much going on.
Yeah.
It's already pretty by itself.
Yes.
Awesome. And then, so before, Peter, we get into your section of kind of what your inspirations are as you travel the world, what do you guys hear from your customers? Is there anything different people are asking for, or are you guys so far ahead that you're fulfilling the needs of people before they know they need it? Which is, if you're doing that, of course, that's why you do what you do. But are there things that you're hearing and scratching your head going, where's this come from?
No, I think Martine and I, we have a problem. And you know, our problem is that because of our brain and our antennas we have and radars we have around us, we feel things earlier than anyone else, and we see it earlier than anyone else because we look with a different pair of glasses. So with that, sometimes people like us, we present something, and then you are sitting in front of a committee or just one person, doesn't matter, but in front of someone, and you explain your thing, what you see, what you feel, and you think, oh, it goes this direction, and people are reacting like this, and they are looking for a particular color, which is in this kind of blend, and then they look at you like, guy, I don't know, well, I am still having my old brown couch, so I don't know what you're talking about. What? Paper? No, we do everything in plastic. Still, we do. What are you talking about? Or cotton? organic cotton? Oh, no, too complicated. Too complicated. Don't get there. But then what we both see for sure is, I'm talking now for myself, but I think Martine is the same problem. Then 4 years later, that everyone is talking about organic cotton and to use it and to wrap flowers in it or so. And it's like, okay, well, I was here 4 years ago already.
Yeah.
I'm already with the next subject.
Right? So,
Sorry.
and I get also confused sometimes which year we are talking about, because my brain is already like in 2028. So
Yep.
I'm like, oh, 2022, oh, reverse. Okay. So yeah, we are kind of strange animals, I think.
Yeah.
We are.
We gotta live ahead, but we live now. And you also need to focus on which market are we serving.
Oh yeah, as well.
I also noticed it's like, if we go to the big retailers, they just love bright. They want to have the bright colors. They will move with the trends, but bright sells better than pastels for those type of shops. But then we're also dealing with the events and the wholesalers who are dealing with the weddings, and those wedding girls know exactly what's the trend today, and they want it now. And they want periwinkle blue, and they want to have pastel this and that. So you gotta, and especially with a company like Queens, where we serve every department of the market, is like you jump back and forth. Who's my customer? And then we work from that point.
Yeah, you're right. Your wedding customers have been looking at Pinterest since they've been 15. Now they're getting married and they know every trend there is out there, right or wrong. And then you've got to kind of morph into that somehow.
Yeah, but unfortunately on Pinterest, the picture stays there for freaking ever. So
Exactly.
then they think it's trend, and it's no trend anymore, or they see flowers and they're totally out of season. The famous
July.
Oh, true.
and they
Yeah,
want it. It's
yeah.
like, and then you have to explain this. No, this is not available.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not so easy. It's not so easy.
Well, we're going to reveal a big secret right now. Pieter has an assistant.
Yes. Okay. So I will show
I
some.
mean, it's like my dog. We call him the nosiest dog in the world. He always leads with his nose, and everything you're doing, he puts his nose into it. And I laughed when I saw this picture. I thought, there we go, nosy.
Now, this is one of the locations in the group of Elite Flower in Ecuador. And this farm is Florsani. They have rescue dogs. So they have 60 dogs, which they take care of. They have a veterinarian who is coming every week to take care of them and to look at them and so on. No,
16 or 60?
60. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So when you're working, then they walk in the office, they come by, say hello, and then this particular one, it's like they always connect somewhere somehow. But this particular one is always coming to me, and then when I'm at that location and then I'm working, and then he's coming with me, and then that inspires. I have pictures here to explain where the heck I get all my inspiration and feelings and so on from. Well, this is one, for example, on the left-hand side, the dog. Then I think like, okay, why are we all stressed? We shouldn't be stressed. You know, this dog is not stressed also. So, and when he comes to you, you calm down. And I calm down, and all of a sudden I get more inspiration also. So, and then I use that one way or the other. In marketing, I will use it in one way or the other, also in colors, feelings. And for example, on the right-hand side, that picture is to show that nowadays, it's not that just women are enjoying flowers, but also men are enjoying flowers. Absolutely. And I took this picture at one of the locations, using the flowers which are grown over there, put them together in a very happy way, where I am controlling, let's say, the way of the placement of the flowers, but I make it also in a way that it's very bright, that it's very happy, and that there is a lot of texture. But the most important is the guy. So the guy.
I thought that was your assistant.
You're right. You're right.
This is the national
Yeah.
employer.
But he comes out of his truck, super
Yeah.
masculine, but is carrying flowers which are considered not to be masculine. But it's a nice combination, and I love the reflection of the flowers in his sunglasses. Those are the little
Oh,
details I'm
awesome.
going for.
Yes, but I love the expression in his face, like he's really
Prideful.
observing
Right?
what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a part of my life. So
And you know what I found over the years of working face to face with customers is the men love flowers, but they don't necessarily know how to speak the language or how to talk about their preferences and what they like. But by golly, when they see it, I mean, they buy faster than any other demographic out
yes,
there.
yeah, oh
And
yeah.
it's like, that's where
Yeah.
you guys come in. They like I thought of that when I see them looking. You see that light on their face so many times. They see it, they want it. But if you said, well, tell me about this bouquet, why do you like it? It's hard for them to
Uh-huh.
orate that, but they know it when they see it.
Correct.
So-
And but you know the biggest problem men are facing is that it's the stigma
Mhm.
that a man should not be around flowers. So they feel uncomfortable walking already like in a floral department. Because it's not done. It's getting way better than it was years ago,
Uh-huh.
but it's still out there. But when you talk to them, and that's why we need always people at the floral department in the supermarkets,
Mhm.
when you immediately walk up to them and you make them at ease, then they go, and then they really want something super pretty. So you know, they're the best customers you can imagine. They are, but you have to help them.
Well, when I'm shopping in a
Right.
store, just incognito as a regular shopper, every time I see a male that has a bouquet in his shopping cart or in his hands or going to the car, I always make it a point to compliment and say, aren't those beautiful?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're exactly right, Peter. They feel kind of self-conscious with them. I don't know where that came from over the many years, but it's like they need to have confidence and feel good about, because their expenditures by far are much more than women. You know, men per item spend much more than women. We need to figure out a way to make sure they're very confident walking in, selecting, walking out, and very proud of it instead of wanting to, you know, cover up and hide. And you're right, many of them feel awkward that way. That would be a neat promotion to work on.
Yeah.
You know, a neat marketing concept is, you know, and I know, you know, Valentine, a lot of times, you know, we market to men and all that, but 365 days a year, how could we make them comfortable from a marketing standpoint? Signage, POP, sleeves, you know, a section of the shop. I don't know, but you're exactly right. That
Social
happens
media.
time and time again, and too bad.
Yeah, social
I
media
still see these
is
guys
our
walking
big
into the flower shops, you know, and then you have this flower shop with all these flowers and there's no bouquets ready. And they walk in and they know they want to spend money and they know they want to have something, but it's like, so what do you want? I don't know, you make it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you make them something beautiful, you work with them, you pull the favorite colors out and what, you know, who is it for? And then finally, when they have it, that smile is bigger than big and they pay more money. They
Mhm.
are willing to pay a couple of bucks
Mhm.
extra.
They're appreciative of the value.
Yeah.
Yeah, so other things where you get your inspiration is hanging out with friends.
Mhm.
And that I do a lot. And you know what? If you are hanging out with friends, of course, you talk to each other, you sit somewhere, but at the same time, and there we come with our radars again, then we are sitting there and we are looking around, what's going on? What are people wearing? What are they doing? What are they eating? What are they drinking? What kind of bag are they carrying with them? You look out of the window, what kind of people are passing by? So, and that all is continuously going on with us, the both of us,
Mhm.
where we are always like on, observing, looking, and getting like the whole picture together. It can be even, I can sit on a highway in a car, and then I'm looking at cars, where I look at the shape of cars, how they are changing shapes through the years, and where we are right now and where we might go in the future. So, but the other picture is how I work. So, you know, we have flowers and we have flowers and more flowers and tons of flowers. And in this particular workshop, I had to teach people how to present roses in a different way. And a rose is a rose and it has thorns. But I told them, okay, if you just put them in a vase and all the same length, it's super boring. So you have to give a rose, a flower, you have to give it space, you have to give it his uniqueness. And if you want to give it a little touch, just look around what you have very close by. So in this case, I went to the market, which was next to the farm, and I bought fruits. And I said, okay, these are the fruits, and you can, the hardy fruits you can put in the water because they stay fresh. There is no problem. They won't rot. And the other fruits you can just lay like one next to the vase or a few, or you make a big bowl full of fruits and create a environment and still life. And in this particular picture, I'm using the roses short and put them inside the vase. So then they are even more unique than when they're outside the vase, because now there are only 3 or 4. So this is a new variety.
Beautiful. You know what's interesting? I love the cylinder. And I mean, my neighbors all, you know, we have quote unquote flower conversations, and they love flowers. But the centerpieces can be so simplistic. And I think sometimes it's customers feel like, oh, I need a PhD to make a flower arrangement for my table. And I think that what you show here, Pieter, in that cylinder is so simple. It's like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, this is simple. Anybody can do it and be an expert at home. And I think that's another thing you mentioned, having people in the shop. Very important. You know, it doesn't have to be complicated, you know, Mrs. Smith, to make a nice centerpiece for your table. And I think, you know, cut branches from outside and bring them in, Pieter, like you did on your crocus. So many customers, I think that's another barrier that we have to break through, is you don't have to be a PhD to make a centerpiece for your table. And I thought that when I saw that cylinder, I thought you could do 100 different things in that cylinder.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think, Pieter, you and I, we also run into the same problem all the time. It's like, it's a bouquet after a bouquet after a bouquet. And we need to think outside the bouquet and go to what's the perfect world scenario here, so I can dummy that down to a $9.99. Because if we stay in that $9.99 world, our bouquets are not going to change anymore. We need to do the big thing to be able to do the small thing and bring it to the public. There is a customer for both ends, but for us, we need to do everything to stay creative.
Yeah, and I was also talking to a friend of mine who is in another creative world, but we both were saying, like, oh yeah, the whole day we are creative. Are you at home also creative? Well, then I'm creative, yes, but not as much as I'm at work. So what I do at home, I really go super simple. Another thing stands here. Like I put 2 apples and some branches in a big vase, and I just put it here on my table because I don't want to go super difficult, because I'm done with it after a whole day of making more bouquets and more creations and so on. So yeah, simple is also beautiful. Yeah, so this here is, this is, you have no idea what this is, probably. But on the left-hand side, those are, it's melasse. Melasse is, it's a material from the sugarcane, which they press, and you can take a piece off, and it's a kind of sugar. It's the purest sugar you can imagine. I found this at the market, and they were presenting this, and they wrap it for transportation purposes in leaves. I thought, oh, this is gorgeous. So then I take a picture of this and I go back and this stays in my brain. And then I think like oh, how can we do this also like in our world? So to bring fall in a different way, maybe printed this on a sleeve, on cellophane, maybe on paper, maybe fold it, make a pick out of it, put it in your bouquet. You can go 1,000 ways, let's say, and then you use it in your somewhere in your world. But as we were saying before, yes, we have this, and then 4 years later,
Hey, where was that? Yeah, that's a great
then all of a
idea.
sudden they're asking for it. It's like, yeah, I know.
But what were they actually selling this for at the time at the market? Is it a wrap for something?
It's a
or-
wrap. It's
Okay.
2 pieces of melasse,
Okay.
and they are tied together with those leaves, and you bring it home and you use it for cooking. You use it for, you can make drinks out of it. You can even make a liquor out of it. You can use it for just in your coffee a little bit.
Wow, interesting.
But it's the
Yes.
purest way of sugar.
Put it in your bread, make it dark.
Oh,
Yeah, and I don't know you, Martina, but I go always out of my mind when I'm in Miami, where we are often because there is everything happening in the industry, and there is also the main office of Elite Flower in the United States. And so when I'm there, I always go to places where other people don't want to go. And it's also not always the most safest place. But there I see always gravity, and they
Love it.
make the most beautiful things. Those are true artists, but they also reflect the world of today, of the younger generation.
Yeah.
And I look at those, and I look at the colors, and I look at the graphics they make, because they say something. And with that, I keep that in my mind, and think like, okay, either in those colors or in the shapes or in the words they use, what they are reflecting, because that's our reality world, where we are moving our flowers to. And the contrast on this is the other picture. This is in South America, where I walked, and all of a sudden my eye was, what the heck is this? And there I found this parrot tail feather, and I thought, oh, poor thing, he lost his feather, he lost his tail. What happened here? And then I see a whole story. I can make a movie out of it. But above all, I saw the color. Now, and here we go. We started with very Perry. If you look at the feather of this parrot, there are so many tones of blue. And if you look at the shirt of Martina, it's very Perry, but it's also kind of jeans bluish, kind of very Perry. And this is the bridge, let's say, to go to another trend which is coming up, and that's jeans. Jeans is all over the place. It's in high fashion. It's in the most wealthy people are wearing all of a sudden jeans in all one tone, is all the washed jeans. And that comes also again from the very Perry color. So as we also saw a sleeve, which was the batik bluish indigo color, that goes so beautiful again with this whole trend. So it's all those blues in all kinds of different tones, which are so neutral. And then also the olive green we saw with Martine presented, which you actually see in this picture as well, because the leaves of the tree behind have this kind of olive green as well. So it's in nature, it's out there, and those things inspire me. And to give you an idea, I took this picture about 4 years ago when I was at a wedding in Colombia. So again, we designers, creative people, we are so often more advanced. We are in a different world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And tell me this, I thought this was interesting too. Peter, where was this taken? This looks like in the Midwest somewhere,
No,
but
this,
what
yeah,
beautiful hues of white and gray.
this was in Colombia.
Wow.
I was in a hotel and this was my view, and I thought, oh, this is ugly. And then I thought, no, there are no ugly things.
Yeah.
No.
There are no ugly things. Everything is beautiful if you look in the right way. And that's what I did. So I looked at this and I thought, this is industrial, but it is so much texture going on. There's so much different types of light, and the clouds were also very dark. And so with the very dark clouds, it became super special. The opposite is the other picture, what I saw where I was in a location where there were tinting flowers, and I saw this and thought, oh, awesome! This is so beautiful. Look at those colors.
Mhm.
Look at the texture of the wall. This is so beautiful. And with that, I saw this and the gray, and then you see like two totally different things, which inspires me like there is no tomorrow. Yeah.
Mm.
So
I mean, look at the textures here too. I think that's
yeah.
the first thing I noticed in that photo was the textures. And then look here, you want to talk about I mean, that again, you talk about olive green and gray, but the
Correct.
textures, it's incredible. You should be
Yeah.
a photographer too on the side, Peter. These
Yeah,
are
well,
awesome
that's one of
shots.
my passions. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, the
love
darkness
to-
on the one on the right, the stark dark, and then the light is incredible. Well, in both pictures, but the one on the right really grabs me.
Yeah, and yes, gravity is an inspiration, but nature is a better inspiration, because there you see color combinations. But also Martine mentioned what she sees when she goes up north in the United States. The colors Mother Nature is putting together, we will never think about, but they are together somewhere. And we hear also a lot of times, oh, but red and green, they don't go together, or blue and green, they don't go together. Those old-fashioned stigmas we have. But hey, listen, Mother Nature is putting them together. So why can't we?
Exactly.
There's
And
no
especially
rule,
when
there's no
the-
right and wrong. Yeah.
Especially when these colors are real, true, natural colors. If they're starting to play with the hues and they're starting to add colors by artificial, then I have a hard time. I have a hard time with there's a whole line of these purples and lavenders, and they're manipulated. And I have a harder time working with these flowers than adding a purple, a natural purple to bronze and
Right.
all that, because then nature wants it to happen.
Yeah. And it's the same here. You know, this is texture. It's all about texture. The left-hand side is this is bamboo, and on the other side it's metal. Now it's totally two different things, but this is an inspiration for everyone. If you look at this, try to fantasize, where can you use it? How can you use it? And try to use it in a different way. Nowadays you see that they use it also for backsplash. The picture here, this is recycled material. I see immediately that this can be a piece of art, like put it on in the museum, but also to put a new piece of wood or whatever on top and use it in the office. It's beautiful. Rusted metal is more beautiful than new, in my opinion. It has a life. Yeah, and then traveling, you know, going through the mountains in Ecuador, and you see this, then you come to yourself and you see all those colors again of the sky and the blue and again the berry and also the green. So that's beautiful. I think there is someone at my door. So I have to go to the door. I'm so sorry.
All right, that's okay. We'll just go through these are awesome.
Beautiful. See how
I
beautiful.
tell you, he should be a
that is?
photographer too, but we don't want to lose him in the design element.
Oh,
But
absolutely. But if you watch his pictures that he posts on social media during the traveling, it's always beautiful.
oh yes, yes.
So I steal his pictures
Yeah.
for my own inspiration.
Mm. So tell me this, Martina. What about just looking forward to Valentine 2023?
Mhm.
Do you have any visions? Do you have any things that you're trying to switch up? Or do
Well,
you feel like it's going to be, the generic pink and red and lavenders and all that? What are you thinking for Valentine 2023?
what I'm thinking is you got to stay traditional for the big retail stores
Okay.
because pink and red will always be there. That is your typical Valentine. Do I sneak in some of those new trends? Of course, because I can't help myself. But you already know that those are the lower percentages that sell. So you have to be careful with those. The big bulk will be pink and red. And that's also what the farms grow for that time of the year. They are so focused on those colors that if I come in with an odd color pom-pom,
true.
we will not have them.
Mhm.
But I will sneak in the creams and the pastels and the peaches and the pinks and still make very Valentine themed bouquets and then maybe slap a red sleeve on it with all the hearts. So if you step away from the traditional Valentine colors, what I mostly do is take a sleeve that screams Valentine. Hearts, pigs, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Make sure that the packaging still tells the story of Valentine.
Okay.
Otherwise, we cannot just sell it. If you go to the retail end and to the event side of the business, you can put different colors in there and bring that in and bring Valentine's to a different level. But the main business is red.
Yeah, but I think we should do something as an industry, though.
Oh, I'm on your side.
So you know what? We are all waiting, and every year talking about, oh God, red, a pink,
I
and
know.
more red and pink, and oh God, and the other colors. Where are the other colors? But why aren't we like talking to magazines and on social media and go in a television show, America Today or so, saying that, red roses, do they like red roses? Or, hey, you know what? Orange roses is super nice. And tell them a story that orange is like, I don't know, whatever it does with you. And that it also fits into Valentine's Day, that maybe sunflowers is also pretty.
Well, Peter, you want to take this show on the road?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, I think so. We should.
I
But,
know. Let's go.
No, but honestly,
Yeah, I agree.
and I remember, for example, a chain, I won't say the name, a chain who promoted big times tulips for Valentine's Day because roses is always an issue. And so, and tulips you can program. So that's just an idea. They did it very well. And they had like shirts and saying on the back that the tulip is the new rose and whatsoever. It's just an idea. Of course, people love roses and roses belong to this holiday. But we have to express that also other colors are also pretty. And that it's also a good thing to buy other colors. So that we have like a broader palette, which we can bring to the market. But if we don't say anything, then it stays pink.
Nothing changes.
I remember it's like a little fun story. 15 years ago, I was a company. I created a Valentine's product line that was lavender and peach. And it was beautiful. Peach hypericum, peach roses, peach, lots of lavender pom-pom. Beautiful combination, little light pink. And it was beautiful. It ends up, a customer buys it, orders so many boxes, it ends up in our system. And while it's in the system, they're looking at it, it's like peach, lavender, pink. Something is wrong here. Hold on.
Oh no.
The system corrected the bouquet. It became a white and red, yellow, or a white and red bouquet. Was sent to the customer. Customer upset. I mean, that's how we need help. if we
Yeah.
want to change this, we
Yeah.
need help from this end to that end to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
this whole transition happen. Because and
Yeah.
it's always that bouquet that I'm thinking, oh yeah, that lavender peach didn't work.
No.
But
But
you know
you're
what?
right, Peter. It's got to start, instead of starting with product development and the buyers, we have to change the minds of the consumer by exposing them to different things. Because until we do that, if a buyer brings in peach, people think they're out of their mind. So I think you're right, Peter. We've got to do it from the flip side and get into the customer's mind of there are other alternatives other than pink and red.
Correct. And
Yes.
and we have to do this as an industry all together.
Exactly.
So that we, when we all gather, for example, we are having trade shows through the year. We have like conventions through the year where we are together, talk about this. And so, and put the heads together. Okay, what do we grow in total? What is the total of hectares of roses, of carnations, of palms, of everything we have? So that we plan those things, so that we with this planning, we can really go honestly go to television shows, because we all think that social media is the thing. Yes, it is the thing. That's correct. But we should not forget that television is still also very well looked at. So, and if you're in a restaurant, there's always television on. And if you are in a bar, there is television. It's all over the place, right? So it's still a medium which is there. And if we go to those with the same story, and it doesn't need to be the same person, but all the people who are going to those shows are telling the same story, then it works. And it really works. If everybody says that we have to eat cereals, and it's on every show, then all of a sudden the sales of cereals goes up. So why don't we use this in our industry?
Well, and I think while we were talking about these 4 years that we're always talking about, like we're 4 years ahead of everything. For this project, you need 4 years, because the farms need to be changed, the whole thought, like growing. It's not a flip that we can just make in a year, because then at the production end, they cannot produce this. So you need to take that time.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
well,
can't be
the
a
three of us,
surprise
let's
to the
go.
farm. Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to pull a surprise on the farm at the last minute.
I know, it's like,
that would not be good.
sorry,
Well, look,
I forgot to tell you.
Yeah. You heard it from Martina. No. Anyway, thank you guys. I know we could talk for hours and hours, and of course, you're always the first folks that people want to seek out and talk to. And not only are you talented, but you're also interesting. And I can't thank you enough for preparing for this webinar. I mean, the slides and the visuals really added a new element to it. And you're always so gracious with your time. And I thank Elite and Queens. I mean, what better companies, right? I mean, thank them as well, because they're leaders in the industry, and obviously in large part because of what you guys are doing behind the scenes, and many other great people. So thank you so much. On behalf of Florrie Expo, IFE, my name's Cindy Hanauer, and I can't wait for the buyers to see this webinar. They're really going to learn a lot and enjoy it. I know I did. So thank you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Cindy.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.